Hey guys. Uh Sorry about the delays, but I mean today was a busy day. So, thank you guys for coming in. Um let's get to it. So, last week, woo boy, it was a big week. You saw my reaction to the USC Illinois game. Um I talked about it at length in that video, but just long story short, I just think that a lot of a lot of our problems that game um, came down to preparedness. I think um, because the last four showed that our defensive line was pretty good, but then we just couldn't touch the quarterback in Illinois' quarterback, and they were just running it through the middle the whole time. So I'm just guessing that preparedness and just one of those things where I mean you can say that that Illinois is just better, but I just think that they were trying to they had to prove something. They couldn't just get smoked by USC either after they were number 9 and then they got smoked by Illinois, and it was all just like, "Oh, so they're not that good." They had to they were out to prove that they were in fact good enough to be number 9. And so they were just like, "Oh, we're going to play like." They were teeing off. They were just like, "Oh, we have to prove ourselves." And I think that after getting smoked by Illinois, I think that USC kind of took them lightly, but honestly, Illinois played really well, and that's no excuse for how bad we were on the defensive line, on in the defensive backfield. I think that Illinois just took advantage and prepared really well, and this bye week is going to be really big for USC. Like it's going to have to be one of those things where you're just like, we're just like, I hope that we can come back um, and beat Michigan, beat these other teams on our schedule, Notre Dame, Nebraska. We have to beat Nebraska. So if we lose against Michigan, if we lose against Notre Dame, I think that's when I'll start panicking. That's when I'll be really concerned. But till then, I'm just like, I'm not taking it as just like last year when I didn't get off the Miller Moss train until like the last second when um, literally Lincoln Riley switched Mayava in, and I saw Mayava do his thing. I was still, because I'm not uh I don't react to things as viscerally as some of the people in the fan base, and I just think that, hey, it's the beginning of the season. I'm not going to call the season dead. Um, it's one loss, and our offense did really well in that loss, and we just need to fix some things on the defense. Some of our corners come back, um, so that we didn't have Kamari Ramsey, so Kamari Ramsey can go back to his true safety position and stuff like that. And I think that this this bye week is really going to show the mettle of this team. Really. That's what I think. And if you disagree, you're more than welcome to do so. But I'm not gonna kill Lincoln Riley and or the USC team just because of one bad game. It's not. It's not gonna. You can't make me do it. You cannot. Um, to the NFL. Let's see here. I went 10-5 in my pick'em, so 10-5-1 in my pick'em. So it's one of those things where you're just like, oh, the tie. I would have had a better um, record than last week just by getting one more win. But this week, I'm going to go for 11-5 because we have no, it's 14. So I'm going to go for 11 wins. So who have I picked this week? This Thursday in about 1.5 hours, we're going to have Rams 49ers. I'm picking the Rams because the 49ers are just, I don't know what Shanahan did to any football god or whatever, but it seems like every year he has problems with injuries. So I'm picking the Rams because the 49ers are just really banged up right now. They don't have any of their top receivers. Brock Purdy is in and out of the lineup. So I'm just going to play it safe and pick the Rams. Sunday at yikes. It's going to be a outside the U.S. game. Minnesota Vikings against the Browns. I'm picking the Vikings. I just think that the Browns are one of those teams where you're just like, they might pull a game or two this year, maybe even 4, but I don't think, and especially since Dylan Gabriel is making his first start, so I'm gonna pick the Vikings. Next game, Colts Raiders. I'm gonna pick the Colts, even though I haven't really believed in them at all this year. I think that they're better than the Raiders. That's what I think. And I think that the Raiders are just like they won their first game against the Patriots, and I think that Geno Smith is getting up there in years. So that's why I understood the Seahawks moving on from him like they did. I'm just like, guys, the people who like questioned it. I'm like, guys, Geno Smith is getting older. Why wouldn't they get a younger, perhaps better quarterback? Like Sam is 28. Like he's about 9-10 years younger than. How old is Geno? I wanna check this because I think he's like 37. One second. Oh no, he's 34. Still older for a quarterback for a especially in this league. So where most positions go out like 30, like fall off at like 30, 34 for a quarterback is getting up there in years. I think that having a half decade younger signal caller who's honestly, I think, is more talented than Geno ever was. And honestly, behind that offensive line, even so, behind that offensive line, I don't think he could do much of anything. So picking the Colts. I'm picking the Giants over the Saints. The Saints are just not good, and the Giants, their defense is good. Their defense is really good, and Jackson Dart played decently well last week, considering he was playing the Chargers defense. So if he can keep that up, not making mistakes, he should do well. Cowboys, Jets. I'm picking the Cowboys. Um, I don't know, man. The Jets defense is not as good as they were under Saleh last year. And the Cowboys offense is really good. And even though the Cowboys defense is like horrid, I don't think the Jets offense is as good as the Cowboys offense. So I'm picking the Cowboys. Eagles against the Broncos. The Eagles are winning despite not throwing for a yard or having a single completion all of the second half last week. So I'm picking the Eagles because I don't trust the Denver Broncos offense to do much. And I think that Bo Nix will make a couple mistakes and give the Eagles defense a couple of turnovers. So, and I cannot say the same for Jalen Hurts. Miami, Carolina. This is a toss-up game. I think that Carolina has looked better these past 2 weeks, but I don't think it's, and like the Miami Dolphins, who's looked better last week. I'm picking the Panthers because one of these guys has to win. Well, no. They could tie, which would be hilarious, but I'm going to pick the Panthers. Houston, Ravens. I'm going to pick Houston. It's just, oh my gosh, the Ravens defense is just like saddled with injuries upon their defensive line and all that even the Houston Texans offensive line can probably block. And if they can block, I think Nico Collins can't, like Marlon Humphreys is gone. Like all of the defensive starters for the defensive line for the Baltimore Ravens is gone. Roquan Smith is gone. So I'm taking the Texans because I just think that their defense is better. And if Lamar Jackson cannot go this week, it's just going to be one of those games where the Texans take out a hobbled team. Like the Ravens are hobbled right now. Cardinals, Titans. I'm going to pick the Cardinals. The Cardinals are just better. In every facet, honestly. I don't think Cam Ward is good enough yet to lift the Tennessee Titans play. So give him a couple years and a coaching change because I haven't really looked at the Titans head coach situation, but all I hear is he's really bad. So Jonathan Gannon should have this locked. Seattle, Tampa. I'm picking Seattle. In this game, it's really close because I think these teams are really equally matched. I'm just picking the Seahawks because I think their defense is better. And I think their offenses are pretty similar. I think that Like both their quarterbacks are pretty similar. Like Baker can do heroics and Darnold can do heroics at the end of the game. I think the end of this game will be pretty good. I'm just picking the Seahawks. Uh, Lions, Bengals, Lions. Um, I don't see. Yeah, I don't see the Bengals winning. Like any chance the Bengals win this game. Um, Jake Browning is just not. He's just not Joe Burrow. Um, and yes, he had a couple nice wins 2 years ago, but I think that I just think that the offensive line has gotten worse, if that could be ever be possible from 2 years ago, and the defense has definitely gotten worse. So the Lions should just roll. Yeah, I'm not. No chance. I don't see any chance of the Bengals pulling this one out. Commanders, Chargers. I'm going wild here. I'm gonna pick the Commanders because I think that Jaden Daniels will come back, and especially with the Chargers' injuries on the offensive line, um, they lost to the Giants last week. Like, I don't think that should be taken out of hand, or dismissed out of hand. So I'm picking the Commanders. Um, Buffalo, New England. I'm picking Buffalo. I know some people have the Patriots coming in and beating Buffalo, but I don't see a chance of that happening. Um, the offense is still pretty young. The defense is not that good. I'm picking the Bills. Kansas City, Jacksonville. I'm picking Kansas City. Even though the Jaguars have a defense now, apparently, I still do not think Trevor is good enough to win this game, especially against Mahomes. So I'm picking the Jaguars. And that's my picks for this week. I forgot the debrief of last week. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to switch. So debrief last, predictions first. You saw my reaction to Seattle, Arizona. I talked at length that video, but long story short, I had the Seahawks winning because my team Arizona, I felt like gosh. Pet Singh is not good, I don't think. And then I think that Kyler Murray is very talented. I've always said he's very talented, but his size, his leadership, I do not think is up to par. I just don't. Him being 5'9", 5'10", I'm just like, he is very talented. I'm not going to lie. He's very talented. I just do not think that he is big enough or as much as a leader as he should be. Like, I think that him him continuing to throw the ball to Marvin is good touch. It's been 7 years, and I do not think that any of those years he has shown the ability to raise the team off from where it is. Honestly, I think that we should be looking for his successor. And that's what I think. And I think that Petzing should be thrown off, left on the tarmac, and getting a different offensive coordinator, because that first half was not acceptable. And if he's truly the problem and not Kyler, I'm happy to eat my words, because I want this team to win. Minnesota, Pittsburgh. Again, Pittsburgh just proving me wrong. Because I always knew that Rodgers, a week or two, could go back to some sort of decent quarterback play, but I didn't think he could string games together like this. It's early in the season, so we'll see, but he's starting to change my opinion, honestly. So, and also the Vikings offensive line is horrifically banged up. Like, they're down to third stringers there, so at least Darisaw's still there. He can anchor that left side. Detroit, like, I knew they would win. Like, I had no doubt that they would win, even though the Browns beat the Packers. I just thought that was a fluky game for the Packers, and I didn't think that the Lions were. I think, like last year, I think that the top two teams in the NFC North are the Lions and Packers. And the Vikings are kind of in that space because of their offensive potential. Like, if this is a big if JJ can live up to his potential, like his potential of a high floor, low ceiling kind of guy, I think that they could win a lot of games. I think Kevin O'Connell can bring that out of him. It's just not materializing so far. LA Chargers against the Giants. I picked the Chargers because I thought that they were. I didn't really see a chance of New York winning, mostly because of the defense, the Chargers defense. But I did not know that the Chargers offense, was going to get banged up like that, the offensive line. So, honestly, I think most people got this wrong. Commanders, Falcons. I picked the Commanders mostly because of what happened the week before, where Atlanta got blanked by Carolina, of all teams. But this Falcons team is an enigma. They're like, 1 week they're really good, the next week they get blanked, and then the next week they're really good. Maybe they're skipping their bad week this week because they're on a bye. We'll see. Carolina, New England. I thought the Patriots would win, but not by this much. The Panthers too. I think the Panthers are very up and down this season. Philadelphia, Tampa Bay. I chose the Tampa Bay because of the Eagles' offense hasn't looked really good this year, but also they let the Buccaneers back in the game, and the Buccaneers were a touchdown away. They were 6 points away, and at the end of the game there, I thought that the Buccaneers were going to come back, but they weren't able to. Houston against the Titans. Yeah, I saw this coming. I just think the Titans are really bad. I think that they're one of the worst teams in the league right now. It's between them and the Saints. And the Texans, I was a little worried when they lost 2 weeks ago. But hopefully this gets them back on track. Hopefully their offensive line can gel together, because that one sack where the defensive tackle got to CJ Stroud before he even faked or handed it off to the back was wild. Was wild to me. Bills, Saints. The Saints got a lot closer than I thought they would, and the Bills struggled more than I thought they would. But it's one of those things where you're like, yeah, it makes sense. Rams, Colts. I had a feeling the Rams would win. It's one of these things that I don't understand why people had such a hard time believing in Sam Darnold last year. Because when they were 4-0, people were like, "Oh, they haven't played anybody. He's still going to turn into pumpkin mode." And I'm like, "Really?" But this year, they see Daniel Jones playing moderately well, and they're like, "Oh, he's the truth. He's really good. He just had to get away from New York." Like, I don't know, man. And the Rams just did Rams things and beat up the Colts and stuff like that. Jacksonville over the 49ers. I picked that because I was like, the 49ers are just too banged up. They're just too banged up. I think that, especially with Nick Bosa gone for the season, and then all their offensive talent being gone for multiple weeks, and then Brock Purdy being just coming back, I was like, Jacksonville's going to take this game. Kansas City over the Ravens. I picked this as well, mostly because I was like, I'll believe it when I see it that the Chiefs are done. Like, one of these times, the Chiefs will actually be done, but I'll have to see it to believe it, because I've been sold this story before, and it wasn't correct. Bears, Vegas. I picked the Bears because, honestly, I even knew last week that the Raiders were not good, and the Bears were decently good. Though it took a blocked field goal to do it, I was like, okay, the Bears are doing pretty well. But they need to improve, and I think that Ben Johnson and Caleb can work together to get better each week. So, yeah. Green Bay, Dallas. I picked Green Bay because I thought the Green Bay's defense was better than this. Go figure. But Dallas did really well. Their offense did really well. And they forced a tie. They forced a tie. especially at the end of overtime there. New York, Miami. I picked New York because honestly, before last week, the Dolphins were flailing in the water. They were not good, and I thought that would continue, but I guess the Jets are just worse somehow. And then Bengals, Broncos. I picked the Broncos mostly because I did not believe in the Bengals' 2 wins, and also Joe Burrow's out. So again, like I said, um, Browning is not Burrow, and I think that there's a reason that no one has tagged him for their starting spot because honestly, I think that even in college, I thought that Jake Browning, was mediocre. Coming from a rival, like I'm a USC fan, so I saw him a bunch at Washington, and like I just thought he was mediocre. I just did. Um, I didn't think that he had great presence in the pocket. I didn't think that he made all that impressive of throws. I just thought that he was a decent college quarterback, and I didn't think that he would do all that well in the NFL. I still don't. Um, like one of those things where, like, I wasn't surprised he didn't get drafted early. I wasn't surprised when he was a backup for Minnesota and then cut by Minnesota, picked up by the Bengals. I wasn't surprised. Not at all. So, and when he had those good few weeks, I was like, good for him. Good for him. Like I honestly, I did not think that it would happen, but he strung a few games together, good games together, and now I I still think that he's even as a NFL quarterback. I don't think he's bad in any stretch of the words, but I don't think that he's good either. So, yeah, that's it. See you in about an hour. Peace.